Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another Behind Her Brand Monday Morning Brew. And of course, I'm about done now. I've been up pretty early. I have my practice what you post. Been up pretty early. I probably still sound a little bit groggy, but it's one of those mornings where I got up crazy early and just had a lot of my quiet time, a lot of just reflection time, getting my heart, mind, and everything ready for the week. We have a really hectic week. But I had a situation happen. I had prepared something totally different that I wanted to share. And my husband was like, there was a situation happened a couple of days ago, and he was like, this is what you should talk about on Monday morning. I got a message from someone, won't say names, of course, and she was someone in my life many years ago who was nice to me, but also always talking about me faithfully. And it wasn't just rumored. It was something that she really owned when I confronted her about it. That she was just, hey, I like a lot of things about you, but girl, I don't really think that you should have the type of success that you have. Those were exact words. Those were exact words. And I remember like being real perplexed by that. And I was just like, excuse me. And my husband always says he's always I'm surprised at some of the things that people say to me directly, but she just said, I don't know what the draw is. I don't know why people like you. I don't understand it. Like, you're not this, that. And she went on and on about things that I wasn't. And when this conversation happened, it was many years ago. Okay. And I realized shortly thereafter, I started to go to different events in different places and not feel confident and not feel like I belonged there. And it was interesting because I've never been one that felt like I needed to necessarily be or do or change who I am for anybody. But I started to find myself feeling that. And it's interesting because I never, until a really good friend linked it to me, back to when did you start feeling this? And it made me think about how often we deal with imposter syndrome. Like, am I really qualified? Am I really good enough for this? Should I be doing this? Should I be going there? And I've had people along the way, don't get me wrong, and I'm sure you all can relate, where incredible people in your life, but you also have people that don't build you up. You have people that may tear you down. And what ends up happening if we take in their words, take in what they're saying about us and make them truth, we tend to walk it out and live it out and not even realizing it. And I remember, I'm a big journaler. I wrote this down one day because it started to become like an honest cancer in my life. It really did. And I didn't even link it back to that conversation. And I realized it was a buildup of conversations like that, where I remember very specifically, let me share this real quick. I was getting ready to go to this really huge event, and it was going to be really great for my clients. And it was at the time when I used to represent speakers and things like that. And I showed up, and I was excited about being there. I was so excited because I knew that I was going to be able to really help a lot of them get booked even more so. I've always had really great success at this particular event, and I was really excited that many more people were getting to know me and the speakers, and that was a great thing because I was able to get them booked with corporate gigs and all kind of things. And so when I got there, I remember she came up to me, and she was like, okay, so you're obviously not ready for business. And I was like, what are you talking about? And you ever get that feeling like sometimes when someone walks towards you, thinking, oh gosh, let her go around me, let her not see me. And she says, well, look at you. I mean, you're not obviously dressed for success. And I just had like a pantsuit on and everything, and I felt like I looked fine. But she got into my head like almost immediately. And I remember feeling instantly like looking around the room and saying, oh, they do have more makeup on, more polished, more this, more that. It was amazing how my mind went there just that quickly. And so I didn't do as well as I wanted to because I shrinked back because of her words. And it took me a while. And I remember kind of getting into this space of not always confidently showing up and feeling like, should I be there? Should I not be there? And a good friend really brought it to my attention because she was like, I've noticed that you seem less confident about certain things. And that doesn't remind me of the Kim I know. And I was like, yeah, but I said, maybe I need more of this, and maybe I need to be more like that. And I started to go through all these different things, and she was like, what's going on? Like, really, what's going on? And her words kind of stuck with me. And in one of my quiet time, I read something that I wrote. I said to myself, actually, let me back up. This is why I love doing the exercise of reminding my values. So I started writing down things that I know that I brought to the table and trying to challenge my own thought process. I prayed about it, and it was like, where is this going back to? And in that moment, God reminded me and brought me back to her words, and how every time I would speak to her, all of a sudden I went through this season of feeling like I wasn't worth it. And it was interesting because I typically would not give weight to that, but the words got in. And I put on there that I said, oh my gosh, her words spoken over me ended up connecting to the very things and the purposes that I know that I'm called to do. I need to forgive myself. I need to forgive myself for believing the lies that were said to me, believing the words that were spoken over to me. And I need to forgive myself for walking out her very words to me. What she says to me does not qualify me, does not diminish me. And her saying that I'm not good enough in certain spaces doesn't make it truth. And so I started to write different things down on how I was going to combat that. And one of it was, honestly, if I ever ran into her, I purposely didn't have conversations. I was like, hey, nice to see you, but I got to go. I made sure that I shut that down, and then I started to safeguard my thoughts. And this is why I believe so wholeheartedly in this. And I would love to hear from some of you. I'm not good at jumping into the comments and stuff, but I'm going to get better at that. But I would love to hear from some of you how you purposely also ward off different things that people can say about you. And I'm sharing this because so many times I hear as women, we talk about imposter syndrome. We feel like, is this really for me? Should I show up? Should I do this? And as I went through my own journaling, and I spent a couple of days doing it, it was very healing for me, because one of the things I was reminded by, and I thank God for it, it was, I have you right where you need to be. And I need you to show up as I crafted you to be. You don't need to be like this. You don't need to look like that. You don't need to have this qualification, that education. I qualified you for this season. So owning that and walking in that and standing in that and believing in that literally changed everything for me. And so now, when I walk into situations and I walk into conversations that to someone else may be like, how is she having that conversation? She should not be there. That is not for her. I even had a client that used to tell me faithfully that people won't take me serious if I don't wear red bottoms. I'm telling y'all, I can probably go on and on about the things that were said. And I had to affirm myself. I had to remind myself who I am. I had to remind myself that I'm walking in the pages and the moments that I am designed to walk in that moment, and that I don't have to have certain things to qualify me to be there or to have whatever God allows me to have in this season. And so I want to encourage you in the same way that there are times whether we want to admit it out loud or not, that we may feel like, is this really for me? Should I really be here? Am I really going to be able to make this successful? And then we start like self-doubting, beating ourselves up. And maybe you don't have this, but if you do, and you've had those challenges where you kind of feel like, I don't speak like this person speaks. I don't make the room laugh like this person laughs. I'm not witty with my words as this person is. I'm not this, I'm not that. If you start finding yourself thinking that way, I want to challenge you to start changing that and saying to yourself, what are you? Are you someone that makes people feel warm? The minute you walk in a room, like, man, it's like, as corny as this may sound, but like a good apple pie, nice, warm, and it feels good. And you think about something that makes you feel great. Are you someone that is really great at dissecting information and making it plain for people? Are you someone that's really amazing at going into very complex and maybe hard situation that most people will probably crack under, but you can go in and you go into it strong and you can make a difference? Like, start thinking about everything that you are and walk in that and speak in that. So when you hear something contrary, it bounces back off. Because I know that same person used to always say, you speak too fast, which I know I do. And it's something I've always had to work at. And she was like, you would make a terrible speaker. You should never be on the stage, was her exact words also. You should never be on the stage. And so for many years, I turned down opportunities because I kept thinking I should never be on the stage. I talk too fast. And again, when I went through my own processing and just kind of unwinding all the words that I was living out from someone that obviously didn't mean anything for my good, I started doing my own events, and I realized I may not be this, that, and the other as a speaker, but I'm going to show up as Kim, and I'm going to speak in a way that I know how to speak and share and do the things that I know is fashioned after who I am. So I want to encourage you today, if you take anything from this, reverse the words. Reverse things spoken over you that makes you think that you should not be where you are today, or that you're not qualified enough, or that you're not good enough. And this is a big thing. If you find yourself in a place where you're feeling like, okay, well, I'm not the best speaker, or I'm not the best marketer, I'm not the best salesperson, I'm not the best, whatever it might be, I would say, honestly, be very intentional on developing yourself in those areas. Don't beat yourself up because you're not something in those areas. Challenge yourself, grow yourself, find mentors, find ways that you can sharpen your skills. Because see, here's the thing, wherever you are at today, whatever page that you're on today is the page you're supposed to be on. And whatever you do with that page is up to you. You write the words. I've learned, and I'll say this in closing, I've learned a lot that God will put me in places that I may be like, are you sure this is where I'm supposed to be? Because I can be around people that are like, man, but what he shows me all the time is I'm putting you in places to grow you, stretch you, and challenge you. Don't turn that into a negative. Don't turn that into, I shouldn't be here. Let me step back. Let me go backward. Don't do that to yourself. I'm putting you here for a reason. And for that reason, I want you to go and challenge, stretch, grow, and become everything I'm calling you to be, so we can flip the page and go to the next thing. And I want to challenge you to do that. And if you struggle in that, or if you're like having a hard time in the season with that, comment, just share. One thing I love, and I'll say this, I love about the women connected to Behind Her Brand is that we support each other, and we're very encouraging to each other. And more importantly, and I know a few people I will call out by name, but I don't want to do that. I might make someone mad if I don't call out the name. But I know specifically names literally just came to mind that if they saw your post, they would quickly say, let me support you, help you, pray for you, whatever it might be. But whatever page you're on, whatever you may be feeling in this moment, don't question it. Don't question yourself. Don't question your skills. And more importantly, if you need to do this, trace back where those words came from. If they keep reoccurring to you, or those thoughts keep reoccurring to you, trace back to who, where, or what causes you to always feel this, that, or the other, and then uproot it and replant something different. I can tell you, it's been life-changing to me, life-changing, because I don't ever want to speak against who I am. I don't want to speak against my experiences or expertise, or even the journey that I've been on. I don't want to speak against that. I always want to show up in places confidently, and I always want to show up in spaces where I know that I'm supposed to be there. I don't question it. I know it. And I would challenge you, just whatever you need to do to get to that place where imposter syndrome is no longer a syndrome. It's no longer a part of your vocabulary. It's no longer something that you walk in. It's no longer a limiting belief for yourself. Whatever you need to do to get to that place, I challenge you today to do it. Uproot it and replant who you are. And the knowledge that you know that the page that you're on today is the page that you're meant to be on. So I can't wait to read your comments. One of the things that we're going to be doing when I do these more, sometimes I kind of jump in and start sharing, is I'm going to pull up your questions. I want this to be interactive. I know the last couple I've just been kind of talking to you, but I do want questions, and I do want you to comment and share and let me know your thoughts, and let me know questions you may have, because going forward, I definitely want them to be interactive for you. But the last couple, I just kind of felt like something was on my heart to share, and I wanted to share that, and I hope that's encouraging to you today. I hope that kind of goes back to this a mug that I like to practice what you post. I can post encouraging quotes. I can post different things. But if I'm not living the things that I'm putting out in the world, then I'm a lie, right? And when I post about pushing through, don't give up, and all of that, those are things that I literally and truly have walked through and I believe in. So I encourage you to reverse, and I'll leave it there. Just reverse anything spoken against you or said about you, because you're meant to be where you are placed to be. All right. All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I will see you again next Monday.